He gave me this word. Now, take this to the Lord once again. If you need me to repeat this word, let me know. He said, my son's blood is important. What other protection is there such as this? Oh, they will be utterly shaken for their actions. Nowhere will they receive a offer such as this. They will be dealt with on truth and justice. I have given them the truth, and they have treated it like filth, a waste of time. I see the words blood covenant as God was speaking this. Then God said, oh, those who reject my son, what will be the end of you? Shall I keep those who willingly deny his sacrifice? No, I say, they have made their choice. Now will I move mightily to set who loves me to me. Choose whom you will serve. Tick tock, tick tock. Who knows when I shall sound the clock, for my reward is in the hands of the king. He will justify his doings with vengeance. Those wanting me to relent my hand will see the correction of what I desire, for truth will be spoken and revealed. Thus says the Almighty. And that was the end of the word. And then I saw a vision. This is what I saw. I said, I see churches burning. I saw I saw this church ablaze. And I knew it was a judgment of God. I see this church ablaze, and then I see pastors moving away from the churches. Like they're just fleeing. Like they're just fleeing churches. These pastors are just fleeing here and there. They're fleeing out. They have to get out. They're leaving the pulpits. They're leaving the stages. They're not staying there. And then I see and I understand as I'm watching this, barriers are going to come down from the lies and deceptions they gave to feed the people. These pastors are going to flee. The barriers that these pastors have built up are going to come down. The pastors have to go, though. They have to be cast out of God's house. They have to be. The lies can't remain anymore. I understand that the Lord is going to have his way. And I see again a close-up of a pastor leaving the stage. I mean, he left the stage in front of the congregation. It was like he was in the midst of a church service and everyone was seated and he had to just bow his head. He bowed his head and just went to the right and left. Everybody's still sitting there in the congregation. He had to walk out in front of everybody. He was exiting the church like shame and a terrible truth had happened to him. I didn't know what it was, but a shame and a terrible truth had happened to him. I see I see him exit to his car that was in the parking lot of this church. He exits to his car and I just see him sit there with his head on the steering wheel. Like he was just in shame. Complete utter shame. Shame is it was so deep in his heart. As I'm watching him put his head on the steering wheel with his hands up like that, I understood that he was never going to go back into that church ever again. I knew that he would never return. I knew he was not going back. He in his heart, he could never go back in there. Ever. As I see him sit there with shame, it's like God took my vantage point outside the car, and now from the parking lot, I'm looking back at that church. And what I see is it was like that same golden glory, this gold glory of God simply like struck that church. It just hit the church so powerfully, like a lightning bolt, struck the church. And even the building itself seemed to change. The building itself of that church was not what it was when that pastor was there. It looked totally different. It looked heavenly. And then God shows me the scene inside the church from after the glory hit it. And I'm looking down in the aerial view from on top of the ceiling down, and I see all the congregation celebrating. They're praising God. They're overcome by worship. And no one's on stage. There's no pastor there on stage. The stage is empty, the pulpit is empty, and everyone is in over eruption, just erupting in praise, erupting in worship, erupting in all of this glory that had fallen on the congregation. And I understood, even now I'm understanding, revelation is coming to them. Lies are leaving them. Barriers are falling in this church. And this is what took place. It took place just like that. And it was so interesting to see. Now, I said, this all ended with just great glory, joy, and celebration. And that was the end of the vision.